Hello, everyone. Welcome to KTAL News Now. I'm your host, Anthony Mocklin, and we are just over 1 week from the opening ceremony at the Milano Cortina Winter Olympics. And one guest who we have here today is making her return to the world's biggest stage. And while she has her eyes on gold, she also has her eyes on her future past the sport. And joining us from her training in Winterberg, Germany, we have Team USA luge athlete Ashley Farquharson. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So, could you tell us a little bit about your journey from being a teen athlete to now being on Team USA?
Yeah, I grew up in Park City, so I started sliding. It was actually an after-school program on the 2002 Olympic track, and I loved it so much that I kept going and I kept racing and made my first World Cup team when I was 20, and now I'm here on my second Olympics.
Now, when it comes to going back to school as an adult, I guess how can you compare that experience to being a professional athlete?
I think there's a lot of overlap in the mindset and the dedication that it takes for both things. It's a lot of time management, a lot of uh, not necessarily motivation, but discipline to just get stuff done. And I think that my training and my past in athletics has only helped me pursue this degree with Purdue Global.
And for an Olympian like yourself, you spend your whole life training essentially for these moments. But what goes into the preparation for after all of this is over? Like, how are you preparing for life after the Olympics?
I'm using Purdue Global as a sort of stepping stone. They're helping me lay the foundation for what I hope to be a really solid future. Earning my business degree, I'm hoping will open a lot of doors for me outside of sport, and hopefully I can find a career that suits me and that I like.
And when it comes to the sport in luging, specifically, you're going over 90 miles per hour on the track. I guess, what goes into that mentally and physically and just preparing yourself and being in that moment?
It's definitely an experience-based sport. We start so young because it takes a long time to develop as an athlete. We do not start going that fast. We start way further down on the track and you slowly work your way up, and then you have to learn every track. So I believe that this is sort of just kind of a culmination of everything that we've worked so hard for.
And when it comes to not just being on the track, but also preparing yourself to be on a global stage with essentially the world watching, I guess, what goes into that mentally for you and how do you prepare for that?
As a team and individually, we do a lot of work with psychologists and goal setting advisors and mindfulness workers to sort of create as bulletproof of a mindset as we're able to. We do it through a lot of practice, a lot of visualization, a lot of self assurance, and just kind of trial and error to find what works for you. Um, I hope to see the fruits of my labor. I like to think it's working. I consider myself a much better competitor than I was a few years ago.
And back in Beijing in 2022, there were much more limited crowds, and there's expected to be a lot larger crowds this time around. So I guess what goes into that in your preparation?
Um, I think that I'm really excited to be in front of more people. I think luge is such a cool sport, so the more exposure we can get, the better. I'm also really excited for my family to be there, and I know that they're really stoked to come watch me slide. Um, as far as the preparation for something like that, it's just that the focus has to remain on the goal. No matter what environment you're in, our goals are the same.
And you mentioned your family will be there. I guess what has their support throughout your career meant to you?
My family is the best. I definitely would not be here if it weren't for them. They're the ones I got involved with the sport because my older brother started it first. They're the ones that drove me to practice every single day, who bought my flights to Lake Placid so I could learn on a different track. No, they've been instrumental in my success, and I'm really excited for them to get the opportunity to watch me compete.
And when it comes to this year's Olympics, what could you tell us about Team USA's chances in this year's competition?
I think Team USA this year is stacked with some of the best competitors and athletes in the world. And our odds are really good. So just tune in. You'll have to find out.
And where can people get more information about Team USA and the event?
To follow along, you can go to purdueglobal.edu. You can follow me on Instagram at Farquharson.
And is there anything that we didn't touch on that you wanted to highlight a little bit?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you taking the time, and good luck with everything.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was fun.
And if you haven't yet, be sure to visit ktalnews.com, which is where you can get all of your local breaking and trending news stories like this one. We'll be rooting for Ashley throughout the entire Olympics, so be sure to tune in and follow her and root her on like we all will. But thank you so much for joining us again. I'm Anthony Mocklin, and have a great rest of your day.